Julia, I just got my new guest.
Yes, sir.
Adrian, what's going on, champ?
What's up, homie? How are you?
Oh man, you know, grinding every day.
Two Tone, how are you, bro?
What up, Kane?
Chilling, man. Good to see y'all.
So let's throw Two Tone under the bus. This is his style, so we gonna throw him under the
Damn.
bus. He didn't like your press conference. He like, come on, Adrian out there with the white T-shirt. What else you say? Yeah, you forgot, huh? You forgot.
Damn.
Under the bus. Yeah. Under the bus. Let's go.
Would you prefer I wore a suit? Would you prefer?
No, I wasn't even talking about your attire. I was just saying like
You didn't say
the
white
chair.
T-shirt. If you don't cut that bullshit.
No, say nothing about his
Get him,
attire.
chat. Get him,
Say, like,
chat.
ask the chat. I said I didn't like the chairs. That's all I said. I was like, I didn't like the chairs.
Gotcha. Yeah, we had to make a last minute adjustment with that. I didn't like the setup at all, but given what we stepped into and some miscommunications, we had to kind of just go with what we had. But yeah, I didn't like the chairs either, bro. But it'll get
See?
better. It'll get better next time.
But the biggest
Salute.
story is that you was able to re-sign Brian Norman Jr., correct?
Yeah, man. Thankfully, pleased with what we've done over the past 3 years, and him, Justin Paldo, Justin Figueroa, and we was hoping that Shariah Moreyu would. That's why I couldn't. You asked me about her when was she fighting, but she hadn't announced that she was pregnant, so it's like hopefully she'll be back soon. But that was our original four that we signed to start Fighters First 3 years ago. So we are honored to have three of the four back, and Shirai knows if she wants to come back and get it on, she has a home with Fighters First.
So what's the vision for 2025 for Fighters First?
I mean, we're just tacking away, man, and I think the vision stays the same. Is we're just working in the best interest of the clients that we have, and I mean, you talked about this on the phone one day, bro. I don't hold fighters hostage. I come from the NBA world, and in NBA, NFL, you represent athletes. You don't sign them to 3 year or 5 year deals with extensions. If they wanna they wanna fire your ass, then that's what they do, and they move on to the next agent or whatever it may be. So, I work like that to where we're gonna do what we can to get you to where you want to be and try to keep you happy. But man, if you don't want to be with the company, then it's your career. You only got one of them, and we wish you well on your journey. But that's what it means so much to have guys like Brian who won a world title and essentially could have done what he wanted to do, and he decided to give us an opportunity to continue forward with him. Same with Paldo and Figueroa. So it just shows the strength of our company and how the guys trust Jolene and myself and how much we believe in them.
Speaking of Paul, though, man, tell me you was at least upset that Top Rank threw De Los Santos in there. I feel like Paldo deserved that shot more than the De Los
They all
Santos.
we're fighting the same day. So they when I think things fell apart, they reached out to offer the fight. And I think Justin did want the fight, but they got things right with Del Santos. So, Justin has a fight coming up June the 7th. He gets through that fight, which it's going to be a tough fight, but, Justin is hell of a fighter. I'm sure that, a Keyshawn Davis fight could be next. Who knows? But there was a very brief conversation about it, but I think they got everything together with the Del Santos thing and they went forward with it.
So it was more like a backup, like, hey, if we can't lock him in, we're gonna double back to
Yep.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you didn't even notify Paldo of that, right? No sense in getting him excited for nothing, or you
No,
did?
no, of course, no. You got to tell your clients that shit because if they find out elsewhere, they looking at you like, "Shit, how the fuck you not gonna tell me something of that nature?" So no,
Really?
no, you
Even if
gotta,
it's just a phone call?
oh
Yeah,
no,
bro.
we don't, no, we gotta let them. You gotta let them know, man. If you don't let them know, then shit, that's your ass. That's how people get fired, man. So no, you gotta let your guys know it's their career, so you gotta let them know.
All right.
Yo, the
So
grill. I can't see it right now, but bro, I was watching Gustavo interview, man, in the group chat. The group, that shit was on fire, bro. They say some
yeah, they
hilarious
were they were trying
shit,
to
bro.
torch poor Gustavo. It's just the inconsistencies with all sanctioned bodies, man. But today, I feel like Gustavo answered it best because he said essentially it's a popularity. It's a component that you have to factor in because of the networks. And that's all we
That's
want is honesty. Because when we see a Liam Williams and a Valdez get a shot at an interim over a Bell and a Archie Sharp, you know, we know it's because Valdez is more popular, but they say it's not until today.
I'm proud of Gustavo, man. I've been knowing him since before he even got into boxing. Built a good relationship with him, man. So I'm extremely proud of Gustavo and where he's at and where he's going to take the WBO. So extremely proud of him.
I mean, you know, your champ is also a WBO champ.
Yeah, he is, but that comment had nothing to do with that. Gustavo's my guy. I got mad love for him, man.
So Justin Powell, though, is fighting a common opponent with Keyshawn Davis and Andy Cruz, right? In Burgos.
Believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good fight in San Antonio, man. Justin's gonna surprise a lot of people. You know, he surprised people his last fight, you know, knocking out that guy. But Justin's been a problem, but you know, he's finally getting the opportunity to show his stuff, man. So I'm excited to see what he does in June.
Yeah, I like that fight. Not a bad fight. I will hope he gets that stoppage, but you know, Burgos is a tough character. Nobody's
Yeah,
ever stopped him.
never stopped him. Never stopped
Yeah, I
him, right?
know. I know. I know. He's a tough character. So obviously, we need to shift to Brian Norman. That's what everybody wants to talk about. Um, why no Boots fight and why go to Japan?
Oh man, that Japan offer was lovely. So you know, it came up. I watched a little bit of Brian Norman Senior's interview with you guys um, yesterday. The offer from Eddie came in. I think it was last week. It was which you know they've already been in Big Bear training for Sasaki. So it's like we're not gonna pull out of a fight to take another fight. And from a negotiation standpoint, it's like I'm not gonna agree to something right now when I know he's gonna look spectacular June the 19th. So we can pick up negotiations after that fight to look to make the Boots fight happen. And to me, it's simple, man. I'm you know the whole doing the interview and saying that, oh, you know, I sent the offer. He loves making negotiations public. I guess that's a new thing now. It used to not be a thing, but from my standpoint, man, it boils down to dollars and cents. Like Eddie can save the words, saying Brian needs to be ambitious and chase greatness and all that shit, bro. This is boiling down to dollars and cents. Let's get that right, and then they can fight. But if the number's not going to be right, bro, then we're wasting a lot of time and wasting a lot of words. And we did that shit the last negotiation. So let's just get the number right, and they can get it on.
Uh, it's a bit, I guess, a bit saddening to hear that the number isn't right yet, because it sounds like Boots gave 300,000 more to Stanionis, which was the 300,000 more that you guys wanted. So, is it that your number changed?
I mean, I think about, and this is from a business standpoint. The negotiation for the last fight started. I think they started at like 750. That was the initial offer, like 750,000. And again, the only reason why I'm talking about these numbers is because Eddie Hearn put the number out there. I'd like to try to keep as much as the my client's business's numbers like private. I hate that it's a lot of pocket counting going on, but the first negotiation they offered initially $750,000, and from 750 it got all the way up to 1.7 before Matchroom was like pretty much like fuck you guys and walked away from the negotiation. But from my standpoint, I'm looking at it like damn, went from 750,000 to 1.7. That's how far the negotiation stretched out. So in my mind, I'm thinking about numbers moving forward. And you know, the saying is yesterday's price is not today's price. So Brian beat Cuevas. Brian's gonna get a nice amount of money to go beat Jen Sasaki. Y'all can't, and I say y'all meaning their side. I don't want to hear any more about, oh well, you know, his fight against Santiago, he made $100,000. He wasn't the champion that fight. Went in and beat a guy and became the champion, and then Now he beat Cuevas. Like you can't keep moving the goalposts on like how the negotiation is going to go essentially. So 1.7 is where y'all walked away at. I'm not saying we're going to pick up there, but make a strong offer, man. Like let's stop with the challenging of who should chase greatness or whatever. Man, let's get down to the nitty of it. Let's get down to the numbers. We already the deal is the deal. Jerron Ennis sells in Philadelphia. We're not trying to say let's take the fight to Atlanta or let's move it to Vegas. We understand the deal. They're fighting for all their belts. They're fighting at 147, and the fight is in Philadelphia. Brian is okay with that. So the deal is the deal. Now we just need the money to be where we need it to be, and like that's that. So enough with the words. Let's talk numerals. Let's talk
Now,
What
numbers.
it,
just to play devil's advocate, why hasn't Top Rank offered Boots to fight? Like, why don't you guys want that fight on
Yeah,
ESPN? Why
well,
don't you
that's
want to
a
host the fight?
that's a Bob Arum, Carl Moretti, Brad Jacobs question. Adrian Clark is the CEO of Fighters First Management. So I represent Brian Norman Jr. I don't represent Bob Arum or those guys. So you would have to
But
ask
that's
that
your
question to
promoter,
them.
though. You have them signed
Well,
to there, and they're best. They're supposed to do their best interest for Brian Norman, right? Right. Like, you're the manager, but essentially they're the promoter. What is their
agreed.
job?
Agreed, and they've done a great job to promote Brian Norman Jr. in the 3 years. 3 years ago, hell, probably longer. Y'all didn't know who Brian Norman Jr. was. So for him to get to this point in his career, and now he's going international, Top Rank has done a stellar job. A lot of people were not high on Brian Norman Jr. after the Boca Chica fight, where he got knocked down, and then it became a no contest. So he's been written off from so many different angles. So I'm not gonna discredit our promotional company or Brian's promotional company. They've done a stellar job, but why they have not um, offered Jerron Ennis, I can't answer that. I don't know.
business wise, would it is it better to marinate that fight, being that the money has just like entered the division, like Barrios and Pacquiao? Let's say Pacquiao wins. Brian Norman fights Manny Pacquiao. He's crossed over. Ryan Garcia's in the division now. Dev Dollars, Devin the Dream Haney's in the division now. There's a lot of money fights in there. Do you think business wise is better to marinate the Boots fight and pick up the mother bags?
I deal with Brian Norman Sr. and Brian Norman Jr. They're both one of the same. So, Senior is definitely going to be on our ass to make the Jerron in this fight. That's something that they both have echoed that they want to do. So business is in the way at this point, and I think Eddie knows that, and the fighters want to fight. So you ask Jerron Ennis, does he want to fight Brian Norman Jr.? Yeah, he does. And you ask Brian Norman the same question, they want to fight each other, but that's the sport of it. In regards to the business side, man, there's a lot of shit that needs to be handled. And again, from what I'm hired to do and what I've been doing for the past 15 years, I'm looking at that 750,000 to 1.7. How did negotiation went? And I'm like, oh, there's a lot more money on the table. So I'm gonna get my client the best deal possible. I know the fans don't like it, and it's like, oh, well, you should have just took 1.7. Shit, I believe in my client. So why take 1.7 when we negotiated up that high? I believe in Brian to go beat a Cuevas or to go beat a Jen Sasaki overseas. Like, go do those like things, and then come on back. And yes, negotiation is war, man, but it's also the point of kind of playing chess and being smart. And I think we've went about this the right way, and I think we'll come out on top once the fight actually happens and everybody's happy.
Or grab that WBC belt. Now it's a different type of bag for Undisputed.
Well, I mean, listen, there's like you said, man, there's a lot of money in the division, but um, I think the drawing in this fight makes sense. But again, that's why, I get what Eddie Hearn, what he did is not like unheard of. We actually did it when Willie Monroe fought Gabe Rosado. He was the co-main event to, I think, Canelo and Liam Smith, I believe. The way we negotiated that deal for Willie, like Willie, of course, was fighting Gabe, but the winner, we before the fight even happened, we negotiated the winner of the Gabe Rosado Willie Monroe fight will fight the winner of Canelo and Liam Smith, which, everybody wants Canelo. So we had already negotiated beforehand, but Willie wasn't a champion. Willie needed the shot against Canelo. So it's like we had to kind of accept all of the terms, and it really wasn't a strong back and forth negotiation because we really had no leverage. We were getting opportunity to fight Gabe on Canelo's undercard, so we signed it, excuse me, sorry, before everything went down. But like Brian is not in the same situation as Willie Monroe. He does have leverage, and he's got his weight up essentially to where he's winning fights. He's going to go fight internationally. So there is money in the division and coming in the division, but I want to see what the best offers are and what the best fights are. But I know Brian Norman Sr. and Jr. both want to fight Jaron Ennis. So we're going to do what we're told as a management company after he puts away Jen Sasaki, and we're going to do what the Normans tell us to do, and that's Jaron Ennis to get the fight done. Then that's what we're going to do. But Eddie has to do his part also.
So your protect yourself at all times initiative, and you got the boxing manager certificate course. These are things that you built that aim to shield fighters from boxy's shady business. So what I want is for you to give me a real life story without naming any names where these two programs could have financially or contractually exploited and or protected the fighter. If I said that right,
Yeah,
hopefully.
no, you did. I'm trying to make sure that I mean, I can use a name like when with protect yourself at all times. Like when De La Rosa was supposed to fight David Lemieux. Um, Again, and remind you, man, I'm young in the business at that time. I'm 38 right now. I started when I was 23 years old, and I think that
Mm.
fight with Lemieux and De La Rosa, I'm young. I'm in my 20s, man. So I'm learning on the fly, trying not to make a mistake. But you know, Lemieux was a heavy puncher. Like Lemieux was putting dudes out. You know, he put out Curtis Stevens. It's like it was a scary fight to take, especially over in his hometown. But James De La Rosa was game. We take the fight, and the fight is for like $50,000. And Camille was like, "Man, I promise that's all I can get you. Like, I'm sorry." James wanted to run the fight. We get there, and Lemieux was overweight. He's like 4 pounds overweight, and he doesn't even look to rehydrate. He doesn't look to like go lose the pounds. He's rehydrating at the scale. Like once he steps off, and I'm like, wait a minute, like what's going on or whatever. So he's like, yeah, don't be scared. Like take the fight. I'm saying I'm gonna put him out. I'm like, wait a minute, now he's overweight. How much money did he make? Like, what percentage are we getting of? They wouldn't tell us anything. The commission wouldn't tell me anything. Camille wouldn't tell me anything. So it looked like a setup essentially. Like we walked into the lion's den, and now the lion is kind of doing whatever he wants. He's hydrated to crazy weight, and he didn't make the weight. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn, like my client is here, his wife is here. My ex-wife was there at the time. His dad was there, and I'm like, shit, like what do we do? So there's chaos going on in the casino, man. Everybody's wondering, what's going to happen? Is the fight going to happen or not? Rob Diaz from Golden Boy Promotions was there, along with Bernard Hopkins, and Rob was like, "Yo, just remember, you on this whole protect yourself at all times situation. This is opportunity right now where you got to protect your client. What you do from here is going to really dictate, what I'm saying, your reputation moving forward." I told James and his coach to go back to the hotel. I made it like, fuck it, ain't gonna be no fight. Like, go back to the hotel. So Camille was just talking shit. Like, mind you, I'm young, bro. This dude talking about I'm gonna sue you, all this shit or whatever. And in the moment, he's doing interviews. And I'm like, bro, you know what? Fuck, I'm going back to the hotel. If they really want to make this fight happen, like, they come back to the hotel and talk. They came back to the hotel, and to save my ass, I made sure that James, his dad, his wife, his coach, everybody was in this conference room, and Camille brought his people or whatever it may be. And we're going back and forth, all like, y'all violated, who violated, all X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, what are we gonna do to make this fight happen? And he was, I'll give you 55,000, 55,000 to make this happen, like 5,000 to make the fight happen or whatever. And I'm like, bro, like this is the number that we're looking for. I think I went high because I knew it was gonna be a negotiation. I'm like, man, give us 125 to make the fight happen. And he was like, 125. He started laughing, and then he gets up, walks out of the room. His people walk out with him. We got a report that there's no fight or whatever. But from my standpoint, if I would have been like, yeah, James, like, what I'm saying? Even though I needed that money during that time, I needed that managerial percentage, bro, especially going back home. But if James would have went in that ring, bro, and we would have accepted $55,000, and he got brutally knocked out in the hospital, or God forbid died against David Lemieux, and I'm the guy that pulled the trigger on accepting $55,000, his wife, his dad, everybody's looking at me like, yo, this negligent ass manager that he had, this young ass manager who shouldn't even be in the business. He's the one that fucked this whole thing off. Like that was a moment to where I'm like, all right, we're going home with no money, with no fight. But at least my client to this day, man, James still hit me up, check on me, vice versa. But I know the respect is there because it's like, yo, like he didn't sell me off to the wolves. He brought me into the negotiation room. I heard the bullshit that was going on, and like James was able to make a decision right then and there, and we collectively walked. Like they walked away first, of course, but we collectively were cool with what happened. So that's kind of both, bro. With one, protect yourself at all times. The fighters knowing and learning about the business, but then on the other side of it, like, bro, I came into this shit blind, man. I had to learn on the fly. I was literally like 6 months removed from college to when I started representing fighters. And I'll be honest, bro, this shit it has not been easy, especially having to learn on the fly. I didn't have a mentor, somebody to hold my hand, tell me what to do and what not to do.
Wait,
You
wait,
literally learn
wait.
this.
I thought you had
But
James Prince as your mentor.
Jay Prince, me and Jay Prince didn't get cool until I sold my company to Ballinger Group. So that was 2019. I came into the game in 2010. So 9 years later, I get cool with Jay Prince. He kind of take me under his wing. So I learned a lot from him, but it was 9 years later. You know what I'm saying? My learning curve was damn near over with by that time. I had already started helping out guys like Errol Spence, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, Willie Monroe. So I'd already had skin in the game, but in my early years, that was nobody that was there to help. I met with Cameron Duncan once, like RIP to Cameron Duncan, but like I didn't really get any info from him. He was trying to see who I represented. So the course is important for people that want to get into the business that's in the likes of myself, or you young, you love the sport, you want to get in it, but ain't nobody opening the door and like, here, let me guide you and navigate you through this shit. That don't happen. You know what I'm saying? I think Roy Egglebright had Fight Promoter U, but Roy's known as a promoter in the game, not a manager. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great course. I believe that Fight Promoter U is great, but in regards to what I teach at the Boxing Manager Certificate, it's actually the ins and outs of what you need to know and can hit the ground running as a boxing manager, man. That's important, and it's something that has not been around. It wasn't around when I started, and I hope that, like, people have signed up for the course, but like my man Paul Garino that had Cordell Booker, like PG, like me, young in the game, man, but him taking the course and giving me some good feedback on it, like that meant a lot to me, man. So it's needed. The education is needed
Shout
from the
out
fighter
Paul,
standpoint to
man.
the boxer. PG, my dude, man, he good
Yeah,
dude, but
because he's done
education.
he did his thing with he's done his thing time and time again with Cordell, bro.
Bro, like that's what I'm saying, but we need younger managers in the game. Like I'm saying, Frank Espinosa, Jay Prince, Al Heyman, those are older guys now, man. We need new blood, younger blood in the sport of boxing, and guys need to be educated on what they're getting into, not just getting into this shit, learning on the fly. I was a lucky one to get in and learn it. You know what I'm saying, and able to be in it 15 years, and what I'm saying, make some money from the sport. But we need younger guys to get in and help navigate these guys.
To be clear, they did not pick up where they left off with the last offer that they sent you last week. They being Eddie. They didn't send another offer for 1.7.
um, he sent another offer. It was slightly above that number, but
Okay.
a, a negotiation is going to have to happen. And he sent the offer, like I said, last week. We're not going to pull out of a fight or agree
Legally,
to a
can
fight.
you do that though? Because Brian didn't answer that. He took the whole like, man, we're not pulling
No,
out of nothing. But legally, are you
I mean,
entitled to
there'll
pull
be
out the
there'll
fight?
be no there'll be I mean there'll be I'm pretty sure, especially with Mr. Honda. Mr. Honda's a powerful man. I'm pretty sure there'll be some ramifications there. And it could be a legal battle. You'll have to really, our attorney is Steve Bash. Like Steve will be able to tell you better than I can, but I would believe that we can't sign that contract that's been executed and then be like, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna take this unification bout. I'm pretty sure Mr. Honda would not be happy with that, and I'm pretty sure that there will be some type of legal ramifications because fight was already signed off on, and camp
I
had already
know it
started.
sounds
So
obvious, but I need that out there because the internet doesn't understand. Like, you know what I mean? So it's better for you to say yes. There would be legal ramifications, which you
nah,
have.
nah, nah. I ain't gonna gas it just for the fans to run with. I know a lot of people that do that shit, but just being real, I said the fight was already. Even if we could have done it, it wouldn't have. He had already been sparring and preparing for Jin Sasaki, so it wouldn't have made sense on his part to just be like, okay, what? like the fight is going to be in the fall or whatever. Let me just cancel this money, which is a huge payday for him and a huge opportunity. Let me just cancel this to wait for that. It's like, no, like you can do both. And that's what he's going to do.
So you work with stars like Earl Spence, Jarrell Miller, but you also guided the careers of guys like Jerry Belmontes to title shots as a rookie manager. What was the toughest lesson you learned early about managing fighters and their egos, their expectations, and how do you apply that today for fighters first?
Ooh, man, the toughest lesson is one that Lou Mezzarano, old manager in the game. God rest his soul. He's passed away now. Lou used to manage Jerry Belmontes, and I thought Lou hated me for years. But I heard it from Lou, and I heard it from Don King, and Don was telling me, don't fall in love with the fighters. You know what I'm saying? Don't fall in love with the fighters. But being a younger guy, and Jerry and I were like the same age when I was managing him. They become family and they become friends, and you become close with them, and their families. So it's the uh, there's just one of them. Difficult lessons is keeping that separation of business and friendship. Very difficult to do because sometimes they hear their friend, not their representative, or vice versa. Sometimes they're hearing their friend, or their representative and not their friend, essentially. But that's one of the most difficult things that I've had to navigate. Building great relationships and friendships with these fighters, and then sometimes you get fired or they do what's best for them and they go another direction. And for me, the friendship is still there. Sometimes I don't like, guys deciding that they don't want the representation anymore. They want to try it elsewhere. But that's one of the lessons that you have to learn, and it's hard to do it. Some people have been taken advantage of financially. Some managers lead with their money, and then they think they build a friendship with the fighters. Then the fighters want to do what's best for them, and then the people are looking, oh well, I gave you all of this, I did all of this, and it's like, yeah, you did, but you didn't have to. It wasn't something that it was mandatory for you to do. But that's one of the most difficult things for me in the business because I built a great relationship with these guys. So towing that line and making sure it's divided, it's pretty tough.
So Brian Norman's only 24, and he's already a world champion. What did that mean for you as a manager and as the CEO of Fighters First? Him being your youngest. Is he your youngest champion ever?
That's my
Throughout
first.
your
It's my
whole.
first one. I've been
Oh
to
wow.
Jerry Belmontes and Omar Figueroa. That ended in a controversial split decision. I thought that was like I was 26 years old. I really thought we won that fight, man, and just it slipped away, and it was like damn. And then we had an opportunity to get the rematch, and then Jerry lost a fight to Abner Cotto in his hometown of Corpus Christi, so that went away. And then we got back there a few years later with Willie Monroe and Billy Joe Saunders and lost that one. And then that was 2016, I believe. And it's like you don't get close to another one, and then all of a sudden this kid from Atlanta that Carl Moretti tells us about walking into Brian Norman Sr.'s place of business, man, and getting him to believe in me and trust me to guide, saying his son from the level that he brought him to, it was just special. Like even after he won the title, I was trying to chase Brian Norman Sr. because Brian Norman Sr. was talking shit to the people in San Diego because it was Santiago's hometown. He was talking mad shit. He was in the entryway. I had to go get him to come back and celebrate with his son. I didn't even process that, we got our guy until Jolene was like we fucking did it. And I'm like, oh shit, like this was a title fight. So I don't really get caught up in moments too much, but that was a special one that I'll never forget, man.
That's definitely an amazing fight. That knockout of Giovanni Stantillium. Do you think that Norman damaged him? Do you see him the same?
I haven't watched him. I actually, we follow each other on IG, and I reached out to him after the fight, just to show respect or whatever. There was a warrior, man. Like he took some big shots, and he kept getting up. I haven't watched him fight. I think he's fought twice since him and Brian fought. I know he's probably bothered. Like every fucking Brian Norman highlight is him. It's featuring him. So I know that probably makes him feel away, but for him to still come back from that and win two fights, and he's still trying to make a name, man. Like I'm pulling for Giovanni Stantillium, man, and I hope that he's made a full recovery and that he gets another shot at a title because dude is a warrior.
Uh, you guided Norman from a 10-round prospect to a world champion in under 2 years, right? So, what was the biggest risk you had to take with that career to get him to where he's at? Whether that's a negotiation or another move that maybe people thought was crazy. Uh, how did that get Norman to where he's at today?
Oh, I mean and I don't think Brian even knows this story. He's probably hearing it for the first time now. The Boca Chica fight. I think Jolene has started moving forward with the rematch for that fight, and I'm like, no, like for what? Like we're not chasing Boca Chica, so like there's no rematch. We're not doing a rematch of that fight. Top Rank is building Brian Norman Jr. to either be a world champion or see if he can be a contender or whatever. So it's like it was a no contest, and one thing I was proud of Brian of, he got knocked down in that fight, but to get up and win the next two rounds essentially showed that okay, he's able to get knocked down, keep his composure, get back up, and then go win rounds. Like that showed me a lot. But I'm like, bro, we don't need to see a rematch. Like we need to keep moving forward, and we really didn't know what was next because it wasn't like Top Rank just automatically offered Santillan. I just know, like, bro, we're not doing a Boca Chica rematch. And no disrespect to Boca Chica, it's just we didn't sign in the Top Rank to chase an opponent, which I think Boca Chica is very good, but we're not here to chase him and give him another rematch. Like, no, let's keep moving forward and see what happens. And we were able to get the Santillan fight, and I'm like, bro, like he's gonna have to just get up like for this fight, and he's gonna have to go make some noise in San Diego or lose to an undefeated prospect they're trying to build up or whatever. But he need to be game. And they did training camp in Dallas. And when I watched him spar, and the more I talked to Brian Norman Sr., I'm like, oh yeah, he winning this fight. So we went into that Santillan fight with the mindset of he's winning this fucking fight. So it wasn't shocking that he won. It was more impressive from our standpoint of how he did it. But that was the one fight that a lot of people don't know about that. Like they were working on a rematch. It's like, no, we're not doing no fucking rematch of Boca Chica. We're gonna move forward from there. And it was a good decision by all of us collectively.
I got a couple questions from the people here. Malcolm in New York says, you host your own boxing podcast and you pick two other people from boxing media, boxing content creators. Who you hosting with? You can't pick Ness.
I was about to say shit. I was about to say I pick you. Um, Showbiz is my guy. I've been knowing Showbiz for a long time. So Showbiz and what's the young lady's name from Top Rank? I can't
Christina
think of her name.
Vaza?
Yeah, I would go with those two. Somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't know her name?" Like yeah.
George Foster, is it true that Matchroom made another recent offer to fight Boots, and was it more than the previous one? You answered that.
Yeah, I answered
Future,
that.
you wanted to add?
No, I said I answered that already.
Yeah. Uh, Dema from Dakar Senegal, is there any chance of Boots fight happening? From the outside looking in, it looks like the Normans is doing more to prevent it from happening.
No, like I think the Normans more than anybody want the fight to happen. It's all business at this point, shorty. So it's all dollars and cents. So it boils down to the good people at Matchroom and Eddie Hearn coming with an offer that makes sense in regards to the purse. As I said, we know what the deal is. The deal is the deal going to fight in Philly, but the numbers have to reflect that. So it's about numbers at this point.
Dre in San Diego, if you had an opportunity to put on a quote unquote in house card of fighters you've worked with throughout your career, who would you out against each other? I guess who would you put versus each other?
The main event will be Brian
Norman
Norman Jr.
and Earl
Go.
Spence.
Yeah, yeah. Be Ryan Norman and Errol Spence would be the main event. Otto Wallen versus Gerald Big Baby Miller would be the co-main event. Um, Justin Paldo and Jerry Belmontes will be on the card. That'd be a firefight. And then Yeah, I think. I mean, even though it's only three fights, I don't want to just keep going down the list. But Justin Figueroa versus Willie Monroe at 160.
Oh wow.
I think. Oh yeah, that would be Justin got put on his big boy pants for that because Willie gonna use that ring. But yeah, no, that would be it'll be some great fights that'll be on the card if we had to do it in house.
Ali and Nago, Adrian, who are your top three favorite fighters of all time?
Oh, all time. Despite our personal differences or whatever. Bernard Hopkins is up there. It's no particular order, but B Hop is up there. I love watching B Hop when I was in college. When I was fighting in the amateurs in college, I just love watching B Hop. Got to have Floyd Mayweather on there. We used to always watch Floyd and argue about him. And then I'm biased because I've been a part of his career, but I've also watched the work from behind the scenes. But I definitely put Errol Spence Jr. up there with mine. Three favorite fighters.
Rod in LA. If Earl Spence retired or is he planning a comeback at 54?
Oh no, he's definitely not retired. If he was retired, he would have he would have said this shit already. So he's definitely not retired. And the other question, you just have to gotta wait and see.
What makes Brian Norman Jr. different from other champions you've worked with in the past? That was from RB the Baller.
RB, man, this dude is like we captured him when he was like 21, 22. He's the oldest 20 something year old I've met. Dude is like he's been here before. His demeanor, the music that he listens to, the conversations that we have. He came to Dallas when I took him to Errol's house and we rode around, and he was talking to me about life, and I'm looking at this dude like, what the fuck? So his whole personality outside the ring. Brian Norman Sr. did an amazing job with his son, raising him to be not just a great champion or a great fighter, but dude is just different personality wise, man. So he's a pleasure to be around, but he's a lot older, mentally, IQ wise, intellectually, a lot older than 24 years old. Give me a tough one, man. Give me a tough. I know. Hey, I
Uh,
seen the group chat, bro. I seen the chat. They going in, so I can't
I'm
see it
reading them
right
one by
now.
one. I
Okay, I
got
got you.
MVA. He says, "What's up? Thanks for coming on. Uh, take your time. Blind rank these shows. So it's 1 through 5. Power,
One,
Snowfall,
five. I didn't watch.
BMF,
3,
Empire,
4,
The Wire.
2. Did I get that
Really?
right? Did I
Really?
get that
You
all the
won't
way?
change it? You won't put Wire at 1 and take Power out? Nah,
Nah,
you
because I'll
can't.
be honest, I didn't watch Wire like that. So it's like for
Oh,
me, Empire will be 5. And then it's kind of like you move everything backwards. Power will be 5. Excuse me, Empire will be 5. Wire would be 4, and then so on and so forth from there.
yeah. I got Talk Trans that says, how do you find talent? Spence, Norman Jr., great eye for talent.
Man, Lou Mazzarana, like again, God rest his soul, Jerry Belmonte's manager. It was my senior year in college, 2009, and Lou Mazzarana was like, "Yeah, man, like, do you know Errol Spence Jr.?" I was like, "No, no clue who he is." And he's like, "How you gonna be from Dallas and you not know Errol Spence Jr.? He's gonna be the next best thing in the sport." And back then, Facebook was a thing. You know what I'm saying? So you want to get in contact with somebody, Facebook. So I found Errol on Facebook and I reached out to him like, yo, man, I'm a senior in college, but I'm from Dallas, you know what I'm saying? I heard about you, just want to let you know who I am and maybe we could link in the future. And he responded back like, yo, like good luck in college, man. Keep doing your thing. And I'm saying we'll link. And we end up getting cool, you know what I'm saying, after that. So it wasn't me going out and looking for him. I got somebody gave me a pointer towards him and that was that. And then with Brian, Carl Moretti, I got to give Carl credit. We knew we were building a company and that was going to be based out of Georgia. So Carl was like, "Bro, there's a kid that we've been hearing about from Georgia." So it was on me to go get him. Like, and I always talk about recruiting. It's like, yeah, you may can see the talent, but you have to go in and build a relationship with the parents and get them to know who you are and what you can do for their family and for the fighter. And then you have to build a relationship with the fighter And that shit is it's not as easy as a lot of people think, especially when you're doing it blind, just walking into somebody's crib or place of business. It's a trip, but it's fun, man. I love it.
James in San Antonio, Texas says, "What's your thoughts on Turkey Alashik's involvement in boxing thus far and long term?"
I think it's dope. You know, I think anybody getting into the sport, man, from a promoter standpoint, matchmaker standpoint, manager standpoint, I think it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? But um, hopefully it's a long term thing, and hopefully it provides. I heard Lou DiBella talking about this. Want to give him his credit for what he said. Hopefully, it creates that middle class in boxing to where fighters can actually make a living in the sport, as UFC fighters do. You know, guys may have losses or whatever it may be, but they keep coming back, and the purses may not be huge, but it's not just for the one percenters, like the Floyd Mayweathers or Canelos of the sport. Like the pay scale is kind of broken down. So I think what he's doing is great. I think that they took a lot of pages from what Al Heyman and the PBC what they did. I think it's a lot of, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. You kind of watch a regime before you, and you see what they do, and you look at the mistakes they made, and then you take that like, okay, now I know how we're going to design our company or our thing, and we're going to do it similar to them, but we're going to have our own take or trace on it. I don't believe Al Heyman gets the credit that he deserves. I feel like uh, the hue could be a certain thing, because I feel like when I was a part of that regime, not PBC, but I was a manager back before PBC even started. And I remember being told by one of their guys something big was coming, pause, and to just get ready, you know what I'm saying, be prepared or maybe even join up with them. But what they did with boxing, that PBC regime, man, for about a decade or so, like they held boxing hostage, bro. In somewhat of a good way. Now I will say there was some shit that I did not like about it, especially not dealing with management or not looking to negotiate. But you can pick that out with so many different companies. So to answer the question, I love that the Saudis and Turkey Al Sheikh are in the sport of boxing, and they're giving opportunities essentially to everyone. Um, but you know, I hope that it's on the longevity situation, and that everybody can make some money from this, especially the fighters. But I want it to be done. I hope that it's done a certain way to where the managers still get the respect to negotiate on behalf of their clients, and they build good relationships with the matchmakers, whether it's at, I don't know the name of their company or what it's going to be, but I hope the revolving door relationship is there for managers with their clients.
Last one is from Jerry Soriano that says, "Mr. Clark, happy Tuesday to you. I was the one that commentated on the disappointment in your choice of attire for a press conference pertaining to your profession. Treat business like business. Your competition is always watching. A little constructive criticism. Best of luck to you."
Oh, hey man, I appreciate that. And I really I have accounted for it, but um, I I'm not. I'll wear a suit. I think I wore a suit to I wore a tuxedo to Spence Crawford, Giovanni Cabrera, and Pitbull Cruz. I wore a suit to that, but I'm really not a suit and tie type of guy. I've sold two companies wearing t-shirt and jeans, bro. So I've heard it before. My mom is on me all the time, like, bro, like you wearing a t-shirt to a press conference. I get it all the time, but for me, nobody's sought me out or looked to buy my appearance. So what you're saying is right, absolutely right. You know, appearance matters and the perception matters. However, you know, the reputation that I've built, people want what's in my, they want the creative shit. They want what's in my head, whether it's the books or the companies that I built or the ability to build companies. They could give a damn how I dress or how I look. But respect to what you're saying. Like I said, I've been hearing it from different people, like my mom and my brother, who's the associate head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Johnny Bryant. Shout out to my guy. He tells me, you know what I'm saying, you need to, you know what I'm saying, suit and tie it up. But I'm damn near 40 years old, man. And like I said, I've had some success wearing t-shirt, jeans, and some Jordans. I'm not saying I'm never going to change, but I'm good. I appreciate you, though.
Last one, Toledo Trees. What would you do with Jared Anderson? And what are your thoughts on Brian Norman crossing the pond to fight Josh Taylor?
Um, Out of respect for the big homie, out of respect for the big homie Jay Prince, I'm not gonna speak on what I would do with Jared Anderson. Good luck to homie. I'm saying all the things that he may be going through in life. I think he just had a kid. Congratulations on that, but not gonna speak on what he should or shouldn't do out of respect for the big homie. But also crossing the pond to fight Josh Taylor. Yeah, I call Brian Norman now the international assassin. It's like his name is the assassin, but I'm like, bro, once we get done with this journey that we on, they're gonna call you the international assassin because we're going to take advantage of fighting in different countries. It ain't just going to be you an American based fighter that you only fights in America. There's a lot of world out there. There's Africa, there's Australia. Shit, if they got fights in Antarctica, we want to see it, especially if they got a 47 that that can bang. So I love the idea of fighting Josh Taylor in another country, but international assassin is going to be it's going to be a thing, man. So we're excited.
My last one. I know you got to protect yourself at all times. Then you created fighters first. You got the boxing certificate. Any of that give you percentages? Does it tell the fighter, the potential manager what percentage they should be charging? And are people still charging 25%?
No, people are still, but you have to understand this, and fighters need to understand this. It's a negotiation. Everything in boxing is negotiable, bro. It ain't just either you take this or nothing at all. If somebody's giving you a take it or leave it situation, shit, leave that shit where it's at. Everything is negotiable. There is no governing body over the sport like there is in basketball. When I was certified in basketball, I didn't have any clients. I was 23 years old doing this shit. I didn't have any clients, but going to those seminars and those symposiums and understanding what it was to be a sports agent and how the NBPA, the National Basketball Players Association, how they regulated all the agents. We could not charge the players more than 4%. If we were not licensed, then we couldn't negotiate contracts. The players couldn't negotiate all the way down to like 1% or whatever it may be. That was different negotiation tactics that the players had like privy to. But then also the agents did have benefits. Like if I negotiated a contract for a player, but then he fired me, I still get paid off of that contract. So if it was an $80 million deal over the 5 years,
Wow.
I still get paid for that 5 years off of that deal. But then once he gets a new deal that's worth $200 million, I don't get paid off of that. His new agent
Yeah.
does. So there's things that I learned that I think that both in boxing fighters and managers should implement. I think it's a great idea for managers if you negotiate a deal for them to be with a top rank and they're going to be there for 5 years or whatever. The fighter should still have the right to fire your ass if you're not doing your job. However, they can get another manager, but that manager does not get paid off of the deal that you negotiated. You should still be able to get paid off of the deal that you negotiated, even though you're not negotiating those set fights or
Damn,
whatever it
so
may be.
you got some fine print that says, I got you a 5 year deal with Top Rank, but if you fire me, I'm still getting paid for my 5 years.
Yeah, and just comparing it to how it is in the NBA world, like that's how it is. But also in the NBA world, like your ass can get fired. There is no signing a guy like, okay, I manage you for 3 years with extensions, and you cannot fire me no matter how unhappy you are, bro. In the NBA, you got to do everything. NFL, all those, you have to do everything to keep your fighter, your client happy because they can let your ass go at any time. It's not like that in boxing. Like the managers are comfortable because they know I got paperwork on you where you can't get rid of me. But I do feel like certain times, the managers do, bro. They bust their ass to get guys a deal, and then it's like they get the deal, and then the fighter knows that the fights are coming up, and it's like, I don't want to be with you anymore, or whatever it may be, and then it's like it's blurry. It's blurry from there, but um, yeah, I feel like this: if you're gonna accept money from the manager up front, then the percentage is going to go up. So if you're going to accept a stipend or a monthly or whatever, you got to expect the manager to look for a bigger percentage moving forward. I think we
Should it
probably
say in
charge.
the contract when that stops? Like, yo, when you pay back, like, how long does that 25%?
Again, all of that is negotiable. And that's why it's important. Like Gustavo said, it's good to have an attorney that does not have a dog in the fight to be there in regards to negotiation, because certain things like that, a fighter, their family, they're not gonna know to be like, okay, well, after this is paid back, the percentage drops down to 10% or whatever it may be. The fighter's not gonna be thinking that far off or whatever. So it's important to have somebody that knows boxing, that's on the legal side, that can help you with the negotiations. But everything is negotiable when it comes to fighter manager relationships.
Do you know of any managers that exist that still buying houses for their fighters and like
No,
taking
no,
it
no,
on a percentage? Like,
no, no. I don't know that part. I don't know. I don't dig that deep into what like another manager is doing. But there is, especially a top fighter. You're not gonna get them for nothing essentially. So there's going to have to be an investment, is what some guys call it or whatever, or you showing that you got some skin in the game financially. But it's negotiable. It doesn't have to be. I literally watched Jarrell Big Baby Miller when he was with Jay Prince. They sat at the kitchen table and negotiated the percentage or whatever. It's just the point of view speaking up, um, and negotiating your percentage of what you're going to pay this dude, but also understanding what the set duties are. That's really important for a fighter to understand. Okay, you're going to manage me. All right, you negotiate the contract or try to get me signed with a promoter, but what are your other set duties? If you're expecting that man or that woman to seek sponsorships and shit like that, that needs to be in the paperwork a part of their set duties. If you're actually expecting that, if you don't want the manager to seek sponsorships for you and you're going to have someone else do that, then if it's in their contract that they get a percentage of marketing deals, endorsements, and shit like that, you need to have them sever that from the contract. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, okay, you're going to take 15% and then you're going to negotiate contracts for me. Great deal. Like, no, it's a lot more to it than that. But you got to know your paperwork, and you got to get an understanding of what the set duties are for the manager that you're hiring.
damn, sounds deep. That was the last one though, man. Did we touch on everything?
Man, I think we all good, bro. That's all good. It's always
Uh,
good sitting down with you, man, to talk business. Usually we're on the phone talking about shit,
yeah.
but we get on here and it's a little bit more serious.
Nah, I appreciate
Hey,
it.
hey, yo, hey,
The
I'm gonna look at
education
this.
is always needed.
Bro, I don't know why people. Yo, I got people going in. I think boxing scene did a article, and there's people in the comments like going in like, oh, yeah, of course a manager would create a course. It's a scam. It's a ripoff. But I'm like, bro, there's literally nothing out here to help out aspiring managers. So I was like, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just leave it like it is and just hope that people figure it out? Let's cross our fingers that they get into the business at a young age and not fuck up somebody's career. Like I mismanaged Jerry Belmontes and I mismanaged James De La Rosa. Like we may have gotten paid and James fought on HBO, Jerry fought for a world title. I still mismanaged both of those guys, bro, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Had I had a course like this back then, I could have hit the ground running. Like I did a lot of fucking tumbling, like literally coming out of college. All right, this guy wants me to represent him. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but like let me just try this. I hit the ground tumbling, bro. And I was tumbling the entire time I was representing Jerry. It's just my work ethic and then the relationships that I happen to fucking develop with people helped me get him moving and fighting on TV and got him to a world title, but he was still mismanaged. There was no reason why Jerry had fucking 10 losses in his career. That shit falls on me. Even though he still has to throw in the ring, I didn't see that damn like Jerry don't I need to make him sit down for a little bit to find his like fire, his hunger. I kept the motherfucker fighting. I kept getting fights for him, not realizing that he was going through other shit outside of the ring. Managers have to see that. So I mismanaged two guys early in my 20s. I could have been like relieved of that by having some type of course, which there was no course back then, or having something or someone to help me. So I'm doing something I promised to myself years ago, man, that if I ever got to a point to where I had the money and I had the name, that I was gonna provide something and create something to help aspiring managers learn this business and know it. So when they get into it, they ain't fucking tumbling. They hit the ground running, man. And that's where it's at. But I still get people, oh, this is a rip off. And it's like, bro, you didn't even take the fucking course. How you it's a rip off? Like I got other managers that negotiated fights, world title fights, that's saying like, yo, this shit is legit and AC is legit. But I got people blindly like, oh, this shit is trash. And it's like it comes with it, but we need younger managers. We need younger creative managers that's going to help push this shit forward. Jay Prince can't do this forever. Frank Espinosa can't do it forever. I think he's grooming his kids essentially. We need more younger managers, and I think that there's somebody out there, bro, that's in the likes of me that can help take this shit to another level, man. And I hope they take that course.
And it's only $300.
Yeah, only $300 to invest in yourself. I'll be real about that shit. If you can't, especially this business, so much money flow through boxing. If you can't make $300 back, if you can't make $300 back off of the fighters that you'll be representing, brother, yeah, you don't need to be that. You need to just stick to being a what they call it, a fanager. You need to just stick to that shit. Like, don't get in it if you ain't got the hustle in you. Like, if you ain't got the creativeness in you, if you can get on this, like I see the comments and shit. I can't see them right now, but like I look at the comments and everybody has an opinion. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got something to say
Yeah, I
and shit.
see.
Oh, but you can make money from like the shit, the thoughts that you have getting on the managerial side, but I know that anybody in those comment sections, you get in it, you got a manager, you got a fighter that you believe in, that you believe can be great. A lot of shit that you be saying about, oh, somebody's either ducking or, oh, you should just take this. Your whole perception of the shit gonna change once you start managing a fighter because you see the bigger picture, but then also the belief in your client helps you really, really change your mindset. So I challenge your people, man, your network to get in on this shit, man, and test your nuts in this shit. Come be a manager, bro, where you really can talk your shit and make money at the same time.
And the course is only 46 minutes.
Oh, it's a crash course, bro. Like, but I go into details. Like, I think people think that you need to be in class for 2 hours or whatever it may be to really get this shit, bro. Boxing management is difficult because the sport is like the wild wild west. But in regards to what we do on a daily basis and what you do with the relationships that you have, man, this shit ain't fucking rocket science. So I don't need a course that's gonna take you a week to get through to understand this shit. There's just different things with negotiations, building relationships, recruiting that I go through in a matter of whether it's 3 to 5 minutes per round. If you don't understand that shit, how I break it down, then again, you just should not be a part of it. But this ain't something that even when I was applying to be an NBA sports agent back then, we didn't have to take a test on the collective bargaining agreement. They really just tested your credentials. Who have you negotiated contracts for? Who do you know in the business? They certified based off of that. So based off of my ability to negotiate contracts for Belmontes, and then I was living with the NBA player CJ Miles. That kind of gave me the green light to get certified, but it wasn't. Oh, we need to take him through this 2 week long process. Like, nah, bro, it wasn't that. Now it's a lot different. But even with my course, like you got to take quizzes at the end of the rounds. You don't just get the knowledge and then you just move on based off. Like, no, bro, you still got to take a quiz to make sure that you retain what you just heard to move on to the next round. So
Yeah,
yeah,
comprehension, man.
yeah, man. But again, I challenge your people, man, to get into it and come join me on
But
this
to run
journey, man.
down, it teaches the course content is boxer manager agreements, uh, managerial percentages, promoter relationships, negotiations, fighter relationships, and industry challenges. Am I missing anything?
I think there's a little bit more. Was that just 15 things you said, or was that shorter? Because I
Shorter for
believe there's
sure. Shorter
yeah,
for
there's
sure.
definitely, no, it's definitely
No,
more.
I see that it says it's 15 videos.
Yeah, I break it down over rounds, like 15 rounds. So
Okay.
it's me breaking down either different scenarios or kind of just giving an overview of what you need to look forward to or what you need to know going into a situation. Again, it's shit that you can't find anywhere else. It's shit I wish I had when I was first starting off.
It says here managers typically earn up to 25%. Is that still normal?
Man, listen, shit. There's probably still some cats out there that sign. contracts where they manage to get paid 33%.
Lord.
Like that's still a thing. I don't know why people think that that's it's like the breakdown I gave, and I still get flack off of the video I did, the last interview I did with you, and I was going through the breakdown. I'm like, bruh, like anybody thinks that this shit is like cool, like y'all are crazy. Like boxers, y'all got to pay like hard percentages, and then like you compare it to other sports, and it's like, bruh, like LeBron James ain't paying his agent 33% of his contract, but you think it's cool for you who not making LeBron James money to give up 33% of your shit? Like that don't make logical sense. But some people still sign them contracts, man. So it's still a thing. That's
Well, they can find the course on Boxing
teachable.
Manager.
Yeah,
Go
but it's
ahead.
teachable.com. The teachable.com is a site that you can go to, man. There's millions of courses on there. So I wanted to go with a platform that was educational based, that was credible. I just didn't want to put out a boxing manager platform and people are like, bro, I ain't trying to put my credit card number into this. But teachable.com is a credible site. It has a lot of educational courses that you can take. That's where you get the course from. And yeah, man, it's dope.
All right, champ. Well, thank you for coming on, Adrian. Appreciate you.
My brother, bro, always good seeing you, family.
Likewise. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Fighters First Management, Adrian Clark. $300 for the course, man.